Hello everybody and welcome to another video. The Cities of Sigmar Age of Sigmar Battletome has leaked. I've got it. So let's have a jump in and let's have a little look. That's right everybody. The Cities of Sigmar Battletome has leaked into the wild. So let's have a little dive in and let's have a little look at what it's got. So, yep, I was at an Age of Sigmar event this weekend and I was talking about how nice the new models are and how much I can't wait to get my hands on them and get them started. And somebody went, I have the book, would you like to see it? And I was like, send me a link. And they sent me it. So I thought, yeah, you know what, let's get a video, do a little video and we'll have a little look at it. So I'm just going to flip it up and we're going to have a look. So here is the book. So the first things first, this is new. Building your army. This is a new thing that's in the Battletomes. I've never seen this in a Battletome before, so kind of just want to point this out because, like, obviously it is a very new thing. So you've got choose your battle plan, contest the generals, so the core rulebook, the path to glory, and then you've also got pitch battles, and they're the kind of sort of like the type of battle plans that you're going to be playing on, the scenarios, the battle tactics and stuff like that. And then it's like choose your sub-faction, and as you can see, there's a lot of sub-factions for Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar. And yeah, so I just thought this was kind of like a little cool thing. I've never seen this in any of the books before, so I thought I'd just jump in there straight away. So the battle traits, which is basically your army rule, is you can pick one of the following sub-factions for your army. All Cities of Sigmar units in your army gain the keyword of the sub-faction you pick, and you can use the Allegiant abilities for that sub-faction. If a unit already has a different sub-faction keyword on its war scroll, it cannot gain another. This does not prelude. So basically, if you've got, say, a character that is from Hammerfall, and you're taking Excelsius, you can't give that character Excelsius, basically. And that's basically what that means. Okay, so Cities of Sigmar have a very new mechanic, and that is called Orders. And this is a kind of a little quirky little thing. It's very cool. So, Orders. So, if you command a Cities of Sigmar army, you can give orders to friendly heroes. Orders are represented by tokens. Now, just as a quick one, you do get a load of tokens and order cards in the army box that will be going up on pre-order very soon. So obviously, and I would imagine that they're also going to be supplied in the War Scroll pack. Each order taken has two sides. One shows the Cities of Sigmar faction icon. The other side shows the icon that corresponds to one of the orders on page 98 and 99. We'll get to that very shortly. At the start of the battle round, after you roll for priority, you give one order to each friendly Cities of Sigmar hero on the battlefield. To do so, pick one of the orders on the pages 88 and 89, sorry, 98 and 89, and place the corresponding token with the Cities of Sigmar icon facing up, so your opponent can't see what orders you're choosing, which is really kind of cool. Besides the hero that have been given the order, no more than 3 friendly heroes can have the same order at the same time. Now, there are things in the book that allow you to sort of manipulate this, where some heroes can have multiple orders at the same time, and we'll go through what they are, but they're pretty cool. Order marked Cities of Sigmar order can be given to any Cities of Sigmar hero. Those marked human order can only be given to human heroes. Duradin can only be given to Duradin heroes, and Aleph can only be given to Aleph heroes. It's kind of self-explanatory. Orders remain secret until they are revealed. Each order will state when it can be revealed and how it can be resolved. A friendly unit cannot be affected by the same order more than once in the same phase. At the end of the battle round, all of the orders are removed from play, including those that were not revealed. Cool. So an order, and this is one of the really cool things here, is an order is not a command. Therefore, a hero that has been given an order or a unit that is affected by an order is not prevented from issuing and receiving commands. So I'm going to basically interpret that as if you have something like a model that stops you from receiving and giving out commands, that doesn't affect the orders whatsoever. So the item in the Blightkin novel, the Blightkin book, that basically you can't issue and receive if you're within 7 inches of that, that will have zero effect on your commands and your orders, mainly your orders, sorry, not commands, for this army, which is super, super cool. So there are only 2 pages of orders, thankfully. It's not like 40k where you get a absolute crap load of stratagems. And this is kind of what it is, but it isn't. So the first order is the Cities of Sigmar order, and it's called Advance Information. So you reveal this order at the start of your movement phase, and if you do so until the end of the phase, add 3 to the move characteristics of friendly Cities of Sigmar units that start a normal move within 3 inches of a hero with this order. In addition, at the end of the phase, friendly Castellite units with the fortified position, I think they're the guys with the guns and the shields, can establish a fortified position even if they made a normal move in the phase if they are within 3 inches of an order with this order. That sounds cool. So is it all units? Start of the phase, if you do so until the end of the phase, 3 inches to move characteristics. Yeah, so it's all friendly Cities of Sigmar units within 3 inches with this order basically gain 3 inches to their move. That's pretty cool. So that's kind of cool. I wonder if that's going to work alongside at the double, like a double, where you can just like roll and get like your normal move, your run move, and your +3 to your move characteristic. So the next one is Countercharge. This sounds really cool. You can reveal this order at the end of the enemy charge phase. If you do so, pick 1 friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that is more than 3 inches from all enemy units and is within 3 inches of this hero. You can attempt a charge with that unit. In addition, if that unit makes a charge move in the phase, immediately improve the Ren characteristic of that unit's melee weapon by 1 until the end of the turn. That is awesome. So you reveal it at the end of your enemy's charge phase, and you basically, any units that are not locked in combat, but within 3 inches of this hero that can charge, can then charge in. That's really kind of nice. I like that. The Iron Jaws have kind of got a similar mechanic with how Mighty Destroyer and stuff works in the hero phase. So you have 3 human orders. You have, the first one is you can reveal this order when a friendly unit with 3 inches of this hero with this order is targeted by a shooting attack. If you do so, after all the enemy's unit shooting attacks have been resolved, pick 1 friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that is more than 3 inches from all enemy and within 3 inches of the hero with this order, that unit can immediately shoot. So it's kind of like the old handgunners at the side in an Empire army. You shoot in and they basically sort of like return fire. But that is really, really good. So suppression fire, you can reveal this order at the start of your shooting phase. If you do so, pick 1 friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit within 3 inches of this hero. After the unit shoots, if all of its attacks targeting the same enemy unit, roll 2d6 and add the number of models slain by those attacks to the result. If the result exceeds the bravery characteristic of the enemy unit, it is suppressed until the end of the turn. The strike last effect applies to a unit that is suppressed. There is a battle tactic that ties into that. So basically, you've got to suppress a unit, I believe, and we'll go through the battle tactics. But you have to suppress at least 1 unit, I think, and you get your battle tactic, and that seems really, really good. And then the last human order is engage the foe. So you can reveal this order at the start of your charge phase. When this order is revealed, pick 1 friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that is more than 3 inches from all enemy units that has not yet fought in the battle and is 3 inches within 3 inches of the hero with this order. If this unit makes a charge move in this phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of that unit's melee weapons until the end of the following combat phase, which is really, with the wording of that's really good. So if you're going first in the turn and you've used that order and you charge, you still retain that +1 attack in your opponent's combat phase later on. So, because it's until the end of the following combat phase, which is really cool. That's how I'm going to interpret that. That may not necessarily be it, but if you don't think so, drop a comment. So the last couple of orders, we have the Elf Order and the Dwarf Orders. So the first of the Dwarf Orders is you can reveal this order at the start of your enemy combat phase. If you do so, you can pick one friendly Sigmar Dwarf unit that has 5 or more models and is within 3 inches of this hero. That unit forms into a shield wall until the end of the phase. Whilst the unit is formed into a shield wall, its strike's last effect applies to that unit. But it has a... Is that a 5-up or a 3-up? Now, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure that's a 5-up. A 5-up ward save. I'm going to go for a 5 because 3-up would be busted. You can reveal this order at the start of your combat phase. If you do so, pick one friendly Sigmar Dwarf unit until that is within 3 inches of the hero with this order until the end of that phase. Each time a model from this unit is slain by an attack made with a melee weapon, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of that model's unit and roll the dice. On a 5+, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Nah, that's not too bad. The ward save is kind of handy. Aleph Orders, you can reveal this at the start of your charge phase. If you do so, you can pick one friendly Sigmar Aleph unit that is within 3 inches of the hero. If this unit makes a charge move this turn, the strike first effect applies to that unit until the end of the turn. Cool, so just as a quick clarification, the only elf units that are in this book are Dark Elves. The High Elves and the Wood Elves have been removed. So you've got the Dwarfs and you've got the Dark Elves. That's all that remains in the Cities of Sigmar book now. So the last Aleph Order, you can reveal this order at the end of the combat phase. If you do so, put one friendly Cities of Sigmar elf units within 3 inches of the order. And is within 3 inches of an enemy unit. This unit can immediately retreat. Cool. It's pretty good. So, the command traits. Now, I've had a little look at these, and some of them are pretty good. So, first things up, we have Divine Champion. So, this general becomes a priest if they are not already a priest. In addition, they know the Hammer of Sigmar prayer below in addition to any other prayer that they know. So there's obviously going to be a prayers lore section. So the Hammer of Sigmar is a prayer that has an answer of 4+ and a range of 12 inches. If answered, until the start of your next hero phase, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Cities of Sigmar units while they are wholly within the range of the chanter. So wholly within 12 plus 1 to wound on a 4+. That's really solid. That's really, really good. Grizzled Veteran. I quite like this one. Free guild only. Wound rolls made for targets that target the general only wound on an unmodified 4+. So you can only ever wound him on a 4+. Or higher, obviously. But that's really cool. Master of Ballistics. If this general issues an all-out attack command to a friendly Castellite unit in the shooting phase, add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by that unit in that phase. This effect is in addition to the normal effects of all-out attack. So +1 to wound, so you're going to be -1 to hit, but you're also going to be +1 to wound. That's pretty cool. And then the Flying Timber, this is one that I really, really like. You can re-roll charge rolls for this general. In addition, if this general made a charge move in the same turn, you can re-roll charge rolls for friendly Cities of Sigmar human units while they are wholly within 18 inches. That is amazing, because re-roll charges, and especially for likes of the cavalry units as well that you've got, you could pretty much have a cavalry hero and a cavalry units and really sort of like get those reroll charges all over the place. And 18 inches is a really big bubble. So we've got a couple of laws. We've got Lords of the Mountains, which is the Juridan's traits. So at the start of the combat phase, you can say that this general will issue a challenge. If you do so, pick one enemy hero within 3 inches of the general. Until the end of that phase, the strike first effect applies to this general, but all of the attacks they make in this phase must target that enemy hero. Strike first, that's pretty cool if you get a really combat dwarf hero that you can have for that. Otherwise, nah, it's not that great. At the end, but we'll have a look at the dwarf war scrolls later on. At the end of each combat phase, roll a dice for each wound currently allocated to this general. On a 3+, that wound is healed. That is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You can get, at the end of the combat phase, roll a dice for for each of the wounds that you've had allocated to you, and then on 3+, you heal those wounds. That is awesome. So good. Master of the Ancient Law. The general becomes a priest. If this general is already a priest, they know one additional prayer from the Law of Runes prayer scripture. That's pretty cool. So the elves get Unparalleled Duelist. So for each hit roll for an attack made with a melee weapon that targets this general that does not score a hit, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound after all of the attacks being resolved. Cool. So if you can get a couple of -1 hit buffs onto them, then that's going to be pretty cool because, yeah, anything that's failed puts mortal wounds back onto them. Secretive Warlock, so it's a wizard only. Add 1 to the casting and unbinding rolls made for this general. That's quite nice. And then you get the Draconic Blood Pact. So the hero is mounted on a black dragon. The black dragons are still in the book. At the start of the combat phase, you can say that this general will draw power from the Draconic Blood Pact. If you do so, this general suffers 1 mortal wound that cannot be negated. However, until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack characteristics of the weapons this general's mount is armed with. Okay, not bad. I'm kind of leaning on the healing one for the dwarf, which is pretty cool. So we've got Artifacts of Power. So the human only ones is Brazier of the Holy Flame. So you roll a dice each time a model would flee from a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that is wholly within 12 inches of the bearer. On a 4+, that unit does not flee. Or that model doesn't flee. So you would do your bravery. You would roll your d6 for your bravery. You would add your casualties to that. You would work out how much you're over. And for each model that's within 12 inches of that, you roll the dice. And on a 4+, it doesn't run away. That's really good. That's actually quite good. And it's got a 12-inch bubble as well. So if you can get your hero amongst your line, that's quite a solid artifact. Add 3 to the range characteristic of missile weapons used by friendly Cities of Sigmar human units while they are wholly within 12 inches of the bearer. If you want a gun line, getting an extra 3-inch range, quite nice. So if you've got a wizard, once per battle, at the start of the enemy hero phase, you can say that the bearer will conjure a storm. If you do so, roll d3. Until the end of the phase, subtract the amount that roll from the casting made by enemy wizards. That's okay, but we live on for a while we're gonna be living in a game that's got things like primal dice, so that's not really gonna be that great right now until we get a new General's Handbook, which is probably not going to be until 4th edition. Sigmarite Warhammer, pick one of the bearer's melee weapons, improve the rend characteristic of that weapon by 1, and add 1 to the damage characteristic of that weapon. I'm always a fan of these type of artifacts, especially if you really want an out-and-out beat stick of a hero. Or, yeah, a beat stick of a hero. Flask of the Leafless in Dark Water, so once per hero. So once per battle, at the end of any phase, you can say that the bearer will sip from the flask. If you do so, heal up to d6 wounds allocated to the bearer. So a once per battle d6 heal, quite nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So you've got the glimmering once per phase. You can roll one hit. You can re-roll one hit and hit roll or one wound roll for an attack made by the bearer, or one save roll for an attacker that targets the bearer. Okay. I think the first two are my two favourite. My first two were the two favourite. There's potential with glimmering, but I definitely think that the first two are the two best ones. So obviously the elves and the dwarfs have got their own version. So the dwarfs have got the Book of Grudges. So at the start of your hero phase, if the bearer is more than 3 inches from all enemy units, you can say they will read from the Book of Grudges. Very fluffy. If you do so, pick one enemy unit that is visible on the bearer and roll a dice on a 4+. A grudge is found. Add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made by all friendly cities of Sigmar Durden units that target that enemy unit until the next grudge is found. If you do so, pick one enemy unit that is visible to the bearer. So there's no range on that. So there's no range on that at all. And it's basically, if your general or the hero isn't within 3 inches of an enemy, you can pretty much roll a 4+ for one enemy unit, and then you get +1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly units that target it. That's okay. That's pretty cool. The Pile Driver Gauntlets at the start of the combat phase. If this unit is within 3 inches of any enemy units, you can say it will strike the ground. If you do so, the bearer cannot fight this phase. However, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. On a 4+, the strike last effect applies to the enemy until the end of the phase. Interesting. That's interesting. So if you can get a supporting hero with your general that has the challenge artifact, the challenge command trait to strike first, you can kind of lock out an enemy unit on a 4+. Okay. To get them to fight last, then you fight first. Cool. So Heavy Metal Ignite. Ignore negative modifiers to save rolls for attacks that target the bearer if the bearer has not made a move in the same turn. So ignore modifiers to saves if you stand still. That's cool. So what do the elves get? They get the Shadow Shroud Ring. So once per battle at the start of your hero phase, you can say that the bearer will use the ring. If you do so until the start of your next hero phase, the bearer is not visible to the enemy units that are more than 12 inches away. Now, you kind of already have that already, where if you're within a certain distance of a unit, a friendly unit, if you're outside of 12 inches, they can't target you. But that's, yeah, so you've kind of already got that. That kind of just allows you to move away from your units, and then you're not going to be able to be seen for potentially a turn. So the Venomfang Blade, pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with this weapon is 6, that attack causes D3 mortal wounds to the target in addition to any other damage. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then you've got, for a wizard, add 6 to the range of spells by the bearer while the bearer is wholly on a terrain feature and or is contesting an objective. Okay, cool. That's not bad. I think the elves and the humans have definitely got better items there, personally. So yeah, I think the elves are a little bit lackluster so far. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of magic. So the lore of the Colligate Arcane, human wizard, including unique units only. Interesting. So, as you will notice, there is a lot more human spells than there are for elf and dwarf. It's kind of very clear that they're kind of funneling you for a human army, and there's probably we'll talk about that at the end of the video. So you've got the first spell you've got is Fireball, and that is the Fireball is a spell that has a casting value of 6. and a range of 18. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range of the visible of the caster. Roll 1 dice for each model in that unit. For each 6, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So you got a unit of 20 enemy models, roll 20 dice. For every 6, score a mortal wound. That's okay. Cast on a 6. It's not amazing. It's not bad, but hopefully they'll be better. So, Mystifying Miasma is a spell that is a casting value of 5 and a range of 24 inches. Not bad. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. That unit cannot run until your next hero phase. In addition, subtract 2 from charge rolls for that unit until your next hero phase. So they can't run and they're -2 to their charge. That could potentially have play. Pale of Doom is a spell that is a casting value of 7 and a range of 18. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. That enemy unit cannot issue or receive commands until the start of your next hero phase. That's really good, especially if you want to stop something like all-out attack or all-out defense, or even better yet, an inspiring presence. So that's pretty cool. Fal's Protection is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 18. If successfully cast, pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit wholly within range and visible to the caster. Until the start of your next hero phase, ignore modifiers, positive and negative, to saving rolls for attacks that target that unit. Oh, so positive and negative. So they can't get all-out attack and all-out defense and cover or anything like that. And but they also get rid of all of the ones that negate it. I'm not too sure how I feel about that one. Reign of the Jada is a spell cast and value on a 7 with a 12-inch range. If successfully cast, pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar human model wholly within range and visible to the caster. Roll a dice for each wound currently allocated to that model. On a 5+, that wound is healed. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now I'm gonna have to clarify. I'm gonna have to speak to someone and clarify with that knows the rules a little bit better than me. But I'm pretty sure that brings models back from the dead if you're healing it to the unit. Pretty sure. It's not like 40k where they're dead. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But I'll have to clarify. But if that's good, that's pretty decent. You can sort of like bring models back. If that is, if not, then your multi-wound models, that might be handy to have if you've got a lot of monsters or the big ogres and stuff like that to sort of get the heals back onto them. Transmutation of Lead is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 12. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in that unit. For each roll that equals or exceeds that unit's save characteristic, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Oh, that's really good for things with high armor saves like Chaos Warriors and Stormcast Eternals, and oh yeah, that's really good. Oh yeah, that's a spicy spell. I like that. Visible, roll a number of dice equal to the number of more. Yeah, that's really nice. So Twin Tail Comet, it had to be in here, is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 18. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Draw a straight line between the caster and one model in that unit until the end of the turn. Each friendly human unit in the line passes over has a bravery characteristic of 10. Then the enemy unit you picked suffers D3 mortal wounds. So all your units are going to be passed over that line are going to have bravery 10, and the enemy unit gets a D3 mortal wounds. Okay. So Wild Form is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 12. If successfully cast, pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit that is wholly within range and visible to the caster. Until the start of your next hero phase, you can attempt a charge with that unit that is within 18 inches of the enemy instead of 12. In addition, roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 for the charge roll until the start of your next hero phase. So pick one friendly. So basically, you can get a 3d6 charge. That's not bad. There's some good spells there. Some of them not so much. What that healing one is definitely something I'm going to have to look into. So the elves have got 3 spells. They've got Sap the Strength. So is a spell that casts on a 6 and is range 18. If cast, pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the caster. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made by that unit until the start of your next hero phase. So -1 to wound. Not bad. Especially if you can sort of tame that in with the +1 to wound as well. For your units, Umbrel X is a spell that has a casting value of 6 and a range of 12. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit. Pick one enemy unit within range and visible of the caster until the start of your next hero phase. Take a battle shock roll is made for that unit on 2d6 must be rolled instead of 1. Ooh, that's pretty nasty. That's till the start of your next hero phase. Each time a battle shock roll is made for that unit, 2d6 must be rolled. Ooh, that could be really bad because, like, you roll 2 dice, add that together, and then add the casualties to on top of that. You could literally just lift a unit. Wow. Okay. Because it doesn't say about, like, picking 1 dice. It's just like you roll 2d6. Oh, that spell alone is worth bringing a Dark Elf wizard just for that spell. That's really good. Tenable Blades is a spell with a casting value of 7 and a range of 9. If successfully cast, pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar ALF unit, wholly within range and visible to the caster, until the start of your next hero phase. When making save rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by the Cities of Sigmar ALF unit, the target's save characteristic is dash. Till the start of your next hero phase, when making... Until we're making attack rolls for attacks made with melee weapons, the unit's target. I don't get that one. So it's got a cast on 7 and pick one friendly elf unit wholly within range of the visible. Okay, until the start of your next hero phase, when making save rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by that Cities of Sigmar ALF. Oh, it literally turns saves off. You don't get a save. Wow. Okay, that's okay. That's not. Those 2 spells are not bad, but Umbral Hex is definitely good. The Run of Unfaltering Aim is a prayer with an answer of 3. Now I've only seen these prayers. I've not seen any human prayers. So I imagine that if you take that command ability that turns you into a priest, you gain access to these prayers. Is cast on a value of 3 and a range of 12. Pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar Duradin unit wholly within range and visible to the chanter. Add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by that unit until the start of your next hero phase. Add 1 to hit rolls, okay. Is a prayer answered on 3 and a range of 12. If answered, pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar Duradin unit wholly within range of visible chanter. Subtract 1 from room rolls for attacks that target that unit until the start of your next hero phase. So you're -1 to win them. Cool. Run of Wrath and Ruin is a prayer value of 3 and a range of 18. If answered, pick one enemy unit within range and visible of the chanter. Roll 6 dice for each 5+ that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. In addition, if the unit suffers 3 or more mortal wounds when this prayer is answered, that unit is ruined until the start of your next hero phase. While a unit is ruined, ignore positive modifiers to save rolls for attacks that target it. So you can't get like Mystic Shield, All Out Defense, stuff like that. Now I'm just going to check the command tree. So after looking at the human command traits, basically you gain the priest keyword, and you get access to the Hammer of Sigmar prayer, and that's it. These are purely for the dwarfs. Yeah, because I couldn't find any human prayers unless there's a page missing, but there doesn't seem to be. So the cities are as follows. So you can be the Hammerfall. So this is your traits that your army will get. So when orders are being given to friendly Hammerfall heroes, one of those units can gain 2 heat orders instead of 1, but they must be different. And if you command a Hammerfall Ashik army that includes an allied Abyss Fire Strike at the start of your hero phase, you receive an additional command point. So he's one of the characters from the Stormcast Eternals. So if you bring him in your army, you'll gain an additional command point if that model's on the battlefield. So Tempest Eye, friendly Tempest Eye and allied Caradon Overlords Sky Vessel units, including including units embarked in them, can retreat and still shoot in the same turn. So if you want a sort of dwarf army but bring in some Caradon Overlords as allies, you can basically retreat and shoot in the same turn, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of have some dwarfs and some gunships. Hollow Heart. So when you attempt a spell with a friendly Hollow Heart wizard, you can say that they will harness the wild magic. If you do so, roll 3 dice instead of the 2 for the casting roll. However, on an unmodified room roll of 10 plus, the caster suffers D3 mortal wounds after all the effects of the spell have been resolved. Why the hell would you want to play Hollow Heart? That's why. Yeah, I wouldn't. Nah, I don't like the sound of that one. The Hammerfall Gaia, so the other half of the city. When picking a Hammerfall Gaia army, if the battle plan you are using has restrictions on the number of reinforcement units you can include 1 additional Cities of Sigmar reinforced units in your army. In addition, friendly Hammerfall Gaia human units, have a bravery characteristic of 10, while they have 10 or more models. That's pretty cool. So normally you've got like so many reinforcements, and that's just going to give you an additional reinforcement unit. So you can say have an additional unit of 20 if you've already used your unit of 20s. So that's cool. Living City. During deployment, instead of setting up in a Living City unit or an allied Sylvaneth unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say that it's set up in the hidden path, as in reserve. You can set it up 1 unit in the hidden path for each Living City unit you have set up on the battlefield, and at the end of your movement phase, you can set up 1 or more of these reserve units on the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of the table edge and more than 9 inches. So if you want to bring some some Sylvaneth army, some Sylvaneth stuff into your army, that's the Living City is the one that you want to use, and you can basically have them deployed off the board. Graywater Fastness. This used to be the big go-to one that the old book used to go for. You can use all-out attack commands up to 3 times in your shooting phase. Wow. Okay, so you're going to take a gun line. This is where you're going to go. In addition, the first 2 times a friendly Graywater Fastness unit receives an all-out attack unit in your shooting phase, a command point is not spent. Okay. So you can do it 3 times, but only pay for it once. That's pretty cool. Well, we'll see what the shooting units are going to be like. Maybe there's some play there for a nice gun army, but that's pretty cool. So friendly Lithis human armies that are not wizards become priests. In addition, friendly priests and friendly allied Stormcast Eternal priests know the following prayer in addition to any other. So if you play this and it's a human and you give it the command trait to make it a priest, they'll learn the Hammer of Sigmar prayer, and they'll have this prayer as well. So it's answered on a 4+ and has a range of 12. You pick one enemy unit within range and visible to the chanter. Ward saves cannot be made for that enemy unit until the start of your next hero phase. That is seriously powerful. I know, because I've just had that on today's tournament, and one of the games they were turning off Gotrex's 3-up ward save and doing a lot of damage to him, and that was seriously powerful. Seraphon have a similar spell that allows it to do it, so that I'm expecting to see that city a lot. Vindicarum. Friendly Vindicarum units can receive the rally command while they are within 3 inches of enemy units. In addition, when a friendly Flagellant unit receives a rally command, you can return 1 slain model on to that unit for each 5+ instead of 6. So you can rally within 3 inches of enemy models, and your Flagellants can rally on a 5+. Wow, okay. That's a bit nuts. But pretty cool. Excelsius. Add 1 to the wounds characteristics of friendly Excelsius monsters. In addition, each time a friendly Excelsius Free Guard Cavaliers unit fights, after all of its attacks have been resolved, pick 1 enemy unit within 3 inches of the Free Guild Cavaliers unit and roll a dice for each model in that Free Guild's Cavalier unit. For each 4+, that unit suffers a mortal wound. Okay, it's not bad. Settlers Gate. Add 1 to the casting roll for friendly Settlers Gain Wizards. In addition, at the start of your each hero phase, you receive 1 additional command point if the model picked to be your general is within 3 inches of any friendly allied Lumineth Realm Lords heroes. So I've got Lumineth Realm Lords models, so I can bring them in this army. So you add 1 to casting rolls for friendly wizards. In addition, at the start of your hero phase, you receive an additional command point if the model picked to be your general is within 3 inches of any friendly allied Lumineth Realm Lords heroes. Cool, so there's a pretty couple of cheap heroes you could probably take from the Lumineth into that city. And then you just get an additional command point each turn. Cool. So the last one, at the end of your hero phase, you can pick 3 different friendly Misthaven units that are more than 12 inches from all enemy units. Each of those units can make a move up to D6, roll separately for each. If the unit has a mount, it can make a move of 2d6 instead of the d6. You can finish this move within 3 inches of enemy units. Wow! At the end of your hero phase, you can move within 3, which means if you're within 3 inches, you can pile in and fight that turn. That is so good. Oh, wow, okay. Misthaven is definitely... I like Misthaven. I like this one, Lithis. And I'm not too bad on Hammerhall. That's not bad. But yeah, I like Misthaven. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Like that a lot. Okay, skimming over the Path to Glory, we're not really interested in that. So, Tenets of War. So this is your grand strategy. So this is what you sort of like your ultimate plan, and this will get you 3 points at the end of the battle after you've done all of your primary and your battle tactics. So you have 4 to choose from. So the first one is when the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if you complete at least 4 battle tactics, and every battle tactic you complete in this in the battle was from the Honor and Glory, which is basically 4 battle tactics from the Cities of Sigmar book, so you can't use them from the General's Handbook. And there's potential down there to do quite a few, but 4, we'll have a look at that in a second. Reclaim for Sigmar. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if there is at least one friendly Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within each quarter of the battlefield. That's doable, but the one that I think is going to be an auto-include is very shortly. Hold the high ground. So when this battle ends, you complete the grand strategy if there are friendly units within 12 inches of the center of the battlefield, and there are no enemy units within 12 inches of the center battlefield. I think that one's quite hard to do. Can be quite hard to do. So I don't think you'll see that one. Reclaim for Sigmar table quarters potentially. Hold the high ground in the center because of the enemy. Probably not. This is the one I think you'll see used a lot. So banners held high. When the battle ends, each player totals the number of standard bearers and units with the totem keyword in your army, in their armies on the battlefield. If your total is higher, you complete this grand strategy. Now, there's a lot of totems in this army, and basically every unit that has a banner adds towards this. So, and not every unit has banners. So I think this is going to be your go-to grand strategy. So you've got your 6 battle tactics. So to do the grand strategy, the exemplar of the academic marshal, you have to complete 4 of these. So the first one is bring him up arms in base. So pick one enemy unit. You complete this battle tactic if that unit is destroyed this turn and was suppressed as a result of the suppressing fire order. Now, suppressing fire is pretty easy to do, so I think that's doable. That's pretty doable, especially if the unit, you can shoot at a unit, put it suppressed, and then charge it and then get rid of it, or even completely kill it. So pick one. The next one is raise the banner. So you pick one objective controlled by your opponent. That's always a good one to do. You complete this tactic if you control that objective at the end of this turn, and a friendly Free Guild's command corps that includes at least a Great Herald contests it. So it's situational, because obviously if you don't have a Free Guild command in your army, you're not going to be able to do it. But I'm imagining you're probably going to, because I think they're going to be quite good. So if you do, and you can see them get on an objective, and you can take it, then that's an easy 2 points. Black Powder Bombardment. You complete this battle tactic if 3 or more enemy units are destroyed in your shooting phase this turn. With the amount of shooting that this army has, then that is definitely doable. So mount the charge. So pick one objective controlled by your opponent. You complete this tactic if you control that objective at the end of this turn, and every friendly unit that contest it has a mount and made a charge move this turn. If you're going for a cavalry heavy army and you know you can get onto an objective and basically charge on your way in, then yeah, this is a very, very easy one to do. Strike without warning. You complete this battle tactic if 3 or more friendly Cities of Sigmar airlift units made a charge move this turn. Obviously, if you're going heavy into the elves, then that's quite an easy one. You've also got mount the charge that you could potentially do, and then you've got another chargey one as well. So 2 for the elves there that they could potentially do quite easily. Again, if you're going to lean into the elves, you're going to need a 3 or more friendly elves made a charge move this turn. I do believe that you get Dark Elf Cold One Knights still in this book. So Iron Might. You complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if 3 or more friendly Cities of Sigmar Duradin units fought this turn, and no friendly Cities of Sigmar Duradin units were destroyed this turn. That's a little bit harder to do, but especially if you don't do your strike first and strike last shenanigans with your artifacts and command traits. So we have a core battalion. So the core battalion consists of a watch tower. So this is a Fusel mare on an ogre warhusk. You might have seen the pictures of it. We're going to look at it soon. It's basically an ogre with a crow's nest on its head. You have to include one of them, and you have to include 3 free guild Fusiliers or free guild Steel Helm units, and you have to include an Ironweld Great Cannon. And you can have an additional Watchtower, so an additional Ogre if you like. And what this will give you is it will turn it into a 1-drop, and it will give you the Slayer's ability. So once per battle, one unit from this battalion can receive the all-out attack or unleash hell command without having to being issued or without having to spend the command point being spent. So a free all-out attack or unleash hell. That is pretty cool. So we'll see what the Fusiliers and the Steel Helms are. I think it's pretty much one's a shooting unit, one's a close combat unit, and obviously you've got a big massive cannon, which is kind of cool, and you've got an Ogre. Or potentially 2 Ogres. So I think your army's going to be built around that quite a lot. So you could probably lean into that and maybe get multiple 1-drops. So that would be kind of cool. It's definitely a good way of getting your drops down. Okay, so the first of the War Scrolls. We have the big Manticore lady, Talia Vendra. So she is the Lioness of the Parch. Not the Lioness from The Witcher. So she moves 14. She can downgrade pretty bad. She's got a 4-up save. She's got 15 wounds and a bravery of 8, which is not bad. So her move is going to downgrade 14, 12, 10, and 8. And her jaws are basically going to hit on 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. And then the Scorpion Sting loses a little bit of damage. So she's a War Master for a Hammer Hall Ashik army, and is treated as a general, even if the model is not picked to be your army's general. So you've got double general in this for her. She's a mount and she flies. She's got the hammer, the martial hammer hall, so she has a 6-up ward save. It's not bad. So while this unit is within 3 inches of any enemy units that this unit can issue the rally command to friendly Cities of Sigmar human units while they're within 3 inches of any enemy units. In addition, when it does so, oh right, okay. Now this is the thing that I do think is going to be FAQ'd, because you're going to be able to issue rally units within 3 inches of an enemy on a 4+ rather than on a 6+. Now, I personally don't think that's a thing. Just looking, I've got the points on my phone, so I'm just looking at the points. She is a leader and a bear-off, isn't she? So apparently she's she is 340 points. Yeah, I got a feeling that this is going to get FAQ to a 5+. There's no way they're going to keep that as a 4+, because the Slaves to Darkness were able to rally on a 4+, and they got rid of that straight away. So she's got Unparalleled Tactician. So if this unit includes, and by the way, that rally isn't fixed onto Hammer Hall Ashik. That's basically just Cities of Sigmar human units. So if you got a human army, you can still throw her in and get that. I would be very wary. That's definitely going to get FAQ'd. Unparalleled of Tactician. So if this unit is included in the Cities of Sigmar army, when orders are being given out to heroes, this unit can give out 2 instead of 1 to each, and each hero. So there's a real bright line there, so you can barely see it. Be different. Each hero can be different, or must be different. Basically, she gives out more orders. Okay. And then Paralyze and Venom. So when you carry out the Paralyze and Venom rampage below, you can use the monstrous action. So basically, if a monster charges you on a 3+, you can make that monster fight last. Not bad. And there she is there. Pretty cool. I think these are the Steel Helms, these guys here. So we got this one. The Pontifex Zenistrar, the Matriarch of the Great Wheel. So I've heard a lot of people talk about this. So it's moves 5, 5-up save, 9 wounds, bravery 9. she is, let's see how many points she is. She's a leader. She's a leader. She's a leader. She's 150 points. She has one attack with the wheel, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, 1 damage. Club and axes, hits 4 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, no rend, 1 damage. That's probably not why you want to bring her. So she's got a crew, is armor, clubs and axes, and the voice of the god king. This unit can attempt to dispel 1 endless spell at the start of your hero phase and attempt to unbind 1 spell in an enemy hero phase in the same manner as a wizard. Add 1 to the unbinding rolls made for this unit. That is pretty cool. She's a priest, but she doesn't have the totem keyword. Not unless she says she is a totem, but doesn't look like she is. She has a 4-up ward save. Wow, okay. She's the Vessel of Sigmar. So the Vessel of Sigmar is a prayer with a value of 3. And if answered, this unit is within your territory. Pick one of the effects below to apply until the start of your next hero phase. If the answer and this unit is not within your territory, pick 2 of the effects below and apply them to your next hero phase. So if you're in your territory, pick 1. If you're outside your territory, pick 2. So you can have Hallowed Ground, friendly Cities of Sigmar human units, have a ward save of 5+ that are wholly within 18 inches of this unit. Holy crap, that is really good. And then the next one is add 2 to the move characteristics of friendly Cities of Sigmar human units that are on the battlefield. So +2 movement. Now bearing in mind you can have an order that gives you +3. So that's +5 to your movement. That's pretty cool. And that +2 is all of your human units on the battlefield. And then, or you can get a 5-up ward while within 18 inches. That's really good. Now she does only move 5 though, so that's not too bad. So cast out the evil. So roll a dice for each enemy wizard and priest on the battlefield. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So, or you can do that, which is pretty cool. So once you get her into the middle of the board and you're pretty much happy where she wants, she can start doing D3 mortal wounds to enemy wizards on the battlefield. That is bonkers. That for 150 points, this model is an auto include, an absolute auto include. So Wrath of Azir. So at the start of your combat phase and after this unit fights, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit. On a 2+, that unit rolls. The unit being rolled for suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, cool. That is cool. I like her. She doesn't have a city link to her, so you can bring her in any army. Only 150 points. Yeah, I've got a feeling you're going to see her in a lot of armies. So Flagellants, move 6, 1-up save, 6-up save, 1 wound, bravery 8. They got 2 attacks, hit and wound on 4s. So one model is a prophet and add +1 to the attacks. So each time a model in this unit is slain by an attack with a melee weapon, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 3 inches of that unit and roll a dice. On a 5+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So you kill a model on a 5+, you get a mortal wound. And you can pretty much bring them back on 5+s if they're in combat. So cool. People are saying that these guys are the new zombies. Well, we'll see what the points are like. So the Free Guild Marshal on a Griffin. Now, this is an old model. I'm not really too fussed on it. I'm going to skip over it because personally I want to keep a look at the sort of newer stuff. But basically, it doesn't look as though it's changed too much from what it used to be. So this is one of the new guys. This is the Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy. He's the new Marshal that you get in the launch box. So he's got a 3-up save. A 3-up save. Wow. He moves 5 inches. He has 5 wounds and a bravery 7. So the Free Guild Marshal and the Relic Envoy is armed with one of the following weapon options: dueling pistols and a silvered short sword, or a master forged long sword or an heirloom warhammer. So you've got some pretty cool options there. So if you have the pistols, so you can have a pair of dueling pistols and a silver short longsword. Basically, if you've got the pistols, you've got 4 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage. And then your sword will be 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, wound on 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage. So not bad. If you take the Master Forged Longsword, you gain 4 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 3s, -1 rend, 2 damage. Pretty good. Or you can take the Warhammer and you get 3 attacks. You do hit on 4s, but you wound on 2s. It's -2 rend, and it's 3+ damage. That's pretty tasty. It's pretty of a beast thing, especially with some of the artifacts that you can do to him to make him a little bit better. But what's his rules like? So, Attendant of the Relic Envoy. So at the start of your hero phase, you must choose for this unit's Relic Envoy to attend the Marshal or to deliver a message to a nearby unit. If you choose for the Relic Envoy to attend the Marshal, you can carry out a hero action with this unit in addition to any other you carry out. In addition to any other unit you carry out a hero action with. So you get an extra hero action this turn. That's pretty cool. If you choose the Relic Envoy to deliver a message to a nearby unit, pick one friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit until the start of your next hero phase. The next time that unit receives a command point is not spent. The Relic Envoy miniature isn't counted to be a part of isn't considered to be a model for the rules purposes, and it can be placed beside the unit to which the messenger is being delivered. I like that touch. That's cool. So if you're sending the message, you can put your little envoy where it's getting it. I like that. Makes him. You can have him running around all over the place. Pretty cool. So he's got a rousing speech. So once per battle, you can carry out the rousing speech heroic action, which is below. So what is that? Rousing speech heroic action. So it's a hero action. So you can pick up the 3 friendly Cities of Sigmar human units wholly within 18 inches of this unit, and for each unit picked, roll 2d6. If the score is less than or equal to the unit's bravery characteristic, until the end of the turn, models in that unit count as 2 for the purpose of contesting objectives. That is really nice. That is really cool. How many points this guy is? He is 90 points. Yeah, definitely going to be bringing at least one of these in my army. Definitely cool. So you've got this is the model I love. This is the one that's the new mounted hero that they showed off on the weekend. So he's the Free Guild Cavalier Marshal. He's got a 3-up save. He moves 10, 7 wounds, bravery 7. He's mounted on a warhorse and he's armed with steel shod hooves. And he's armed with a dragon pistol and a master forged longsword. So he's got a dragon pistol which has got an 18-inch range, 2 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage. And he has the master forged longsword, so 4 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -2 rend, 2 damage. This guy is definitely going to be a mainstay in my army because I love the model. And he is 120 points. Dirt cheap. So, for Sigmar charge, when the finest hour hero action is carried out with this unit, in addition to the normal effect, when the finest hour hero... Oh, so when he's having his finest hour... so that's +1 to wound, +1 to his save, is carried out with this unit. In addition to the normal effect, until the end of the turn, add 3 to the charge rolls for this unit and a friendly Free Guild's Cavalier unit while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Wow, okay. Are the Cavaliers battle line? Please make them battle line. Free guild fusiliers. Oh no, they're not. But they are if your general is free guild. So he is free guild. So if you take him as your general, have the command trait of reroll charges within 18 inches, you'll be able to add 3 to the charge rolls. If he has his finest hour, you'll be able to add 3 to the charge roll and to a friendly unit within 12 inches who will also be able to re-roll the charge. That's pretty cool. So, run down the 4. So the strike first effect applies to this unit if it made a charge move in the same turn. In addition, in the combat phase, if this unit made a charge move in the same turn, after this unit has fought for the first time in the phase, you can pick one friendly Free Guilds Cavalier unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit, and that has not yet fought, and it can fight immediately. Kind of works a bit like the Chaos Knights, the Kardrak Lord, Chaos Lord, and Chaos Knights. So basically, if it charges, it strikes first, and then you can get another unit to strike first. So it kind of fighting immediately. So it's kind of leaning into that cavalry army. And if you make them in general, they do become battle line as well. So the Alchemite Warforger, he's the guy with the sort of the big apron and the big drum. He has a 5-up save. He moves 5 inches. He's got 5 wounds and he's got bravery 6. He's a wizard. He has 3 attacks with a 2-inch reach. Hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -1 rend, D3 damage. This unit can attempt to cast 1 spell in your hero phase and attempt to unbind 1 spell in the enemy hero phase. If you pick a spell from the lore of the College of Arcane for this unit, it must be the Transmute of the Lead, which is actually a really good spell. Runic of the Crucible at the start of your hero phase, and that's the one that does the mortal wounds based on you have to roll higher than their armor, equal to or higher, and it does mortal wounds to the unit. So that's really good. I'll probably would like to have at least one of them in my army. So the start of your hero phase, you can say that this unit will either stoke or extend the power of the Runic Crucible. If this unit strokes the power of the Runic Crucible, add 1 to the casting rolls for this unit until the end of the phase. +1 to cast is always nice. If it extends the power of the Runic Crucible, it cannot cast any spells in this phase, but until the start of your next hero phase, add 1 to save rolls for friendly Cities of Sigmar human units while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Nice. So I can imagine the way I would play this, if I'm playing up against an army like Chaos Warriors that have got a lot of 3-up armor saves, I'm going to be popping out a lot of transmutation of lead to get those mortal wounds on the units because it's all going to be on a 3+. If I'm against an army that has really low armor saves like Skaven Clan Rats, then I'm going to be, instead of popping off that spell, I'm going to be not extending it and getting that +1 to my armor saves while within 12 inches of him. So there's quite a bit of utility there. I quite like that. So Blazing Weapons is a spell that casts on a 7 and a range of 12. If successfully cast until the start of your next hero phase, friendly Cities of Sigmar human units have blazing weapons while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. While a unit has a blazing weapon, each unmodified hit roll of a 6 for an attack made by that unit causes 1 mortal wound in addition to any damage it infects. That's pretty cool. So 6s cause mortal wounds in addition. Really, really nice. I play Lumineth Realm Lords. I was using Stone Guard this weekend, and that 6s causing mortal wounds in addition was really, really nice. So Battle Mages. These are old. I'm really glad they're there. There's a lot of cool potential modelling and painting that you could do here. So basically, it's a wizard. He has a 6-up save, moves 5, 5 wounds. He has a staff that basically hit 1 attack, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -1 rend at D3 damage. This unit can attempt to cast 1 spell in your hero phase and attempt to unbind 1 spell in the hero phase. He's got an arcane trinket. Pardon me. So when you pick this unit to be part of your army, you pick one of the following arcane trinkets for it to be that it possesses. Record the information on your army roster. So you can have the Grimoire, which is add 1 to casting. This unit can have a 5-up ward, or you can have a +2 to the attacks for this unit's wizarding staff. Not too sure why you would want to do that. You can have an ensorced skull, so add 1 to the unbinding rolls. You can have the Realm Stone Orb and add 6 to the range of spells. Or you can have a Ritual Dagger, so once per battle, at the start of your hero phase, you can say that this unit will draw blood. If you do so, this unit suffers 1 mortal wound that cannot be negated, and this unit can attempt to cast an additional spell in the phase. Or you can have a Spectral Potion, so once per battle, in your hero phase, you can say that this spell will unlock the Spectral Potion. If you do so, pick 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit and roll the dice. On a 2+, it does D3 mortal wounds. Personally, I think you've got better wizards, but if you want to use some of the other spells from the big long list of lore, you potentially can. You can get +1 to cast, or an additional 6 inches to the cast range. So I think you can kind of tailor your wizard how you like it. You can stick the wizard basically on a big griffin, and he gets all the rules for being on a griffin. Personally, I would probably just take one of those battle mages if I ever did. But you get the new battle mage. So is this the battle mage, or is this the one on the Celestial Hukarn? He is the one on the Ankarm. We're going to skip over him because I don't think he's changed that much, I believe. Yeah, that's still there. So we're going to go to this guy's here. So this is the Free Guild Command Corps. So this is the one that we know has a battle tactic tied to it. So the unit has a 4-up save, it moves 5, it has 3 wounds and bravery of 7. So this model, the models in a Free Guild Command Corps is 1 Arc Knight, 1 Whisperblade, 1 Great Herald, 1 War Surgeon, 1 Soul Shepherd, and 1 Mascot Grifflim, which is like this little dragon dog, which is so cool. And that knight is amazing, by the way. The Arc Knight is armed with the Signite Great Weapon. The Whisperblade is armed with an enchanted rapier. The War Surgeon and the Soul Shepherd are each armed with an assortment of weapons. And the Gargolin is armed with a bite. So the Great Herald in this unit is a totem. Awesome. It's not a hero or anything, it's just a collection of heroes. So, the Marshal's Retinue, as well as at the start of the first battle round, before determining who has the first turn, you can pick 1 friendly Free Guilds Marshal and Relic Envoy in the battlefield for this unit to be assigned to. The Free Guild Marshal cannot have more than 1 Field Command Corps assigned to it. The Free Guild Marshal has a ward save of 4+ while it is within 3 inches of this unit. So basically it's a bodyguard unit for your Marshal on foot, which is 90 points. Now the Free Guild Command Corps is... let's have a little look. $170 points. 170 points. So, Soulbones. You can use this ability while this unit has a War Surgeon. At the end of the hero phase, you can pick up to 3 friendly Cities of Sigmar human units wholly within 12 inches of this unit. For each unit picked, you can either heal up to D3 wounds allocated to the unit, or if no wounds have been allocated to that unit, you can return a number of slain models as if to it that have a combined wounds characteristics of D3 or less. Cool. So you can bring back models or heal models. I like that. So you can dispatch spies. You can only use this ability while this unit has a Whisperblade. Okay. So once per turn, when an enemy unit issues a command, you can say that this Whisper Blade will attempt to disrupt it. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 4+, that command is not received, and the command point that was spent to issue the command is lost. Each time a command is issued, no more than one attempt can be made to be disrupted. So once per turn, you can basically stop someone from using a command point on a 4+. That's pretty cool. So basically, you've got Varys from Game of Thrones in your army. Sound the Advance. You can only use this ability while you've got a Great Herald. Add 1 to the run rolls and charge rolls for friendly Cities of Sigmar human units while they are wholly within 12 inches of any friendly units that have the Great Herald. In addition, when a friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit wholly within 12 inches of any friendly units that have a Great Herald retreat, you can add D3 to the move characteristic of all models in that unit until the end of the phase. Okay. So D3 to the retreat, not bad. So, Tune of the Corpse Summon Eye. You can use this ability if you've got a Soul Shepherd in the Battle Shock phase. Each time a model would flee from the Cities of Sigmar army, flee from a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit, while that friendly model is wholly within 12 inches of this unit, roll a dice on a 4+. That model does not flee. The same cannot be affected by this ability more than once. So that's the kind of thing that we had before in the command and all that abilities, where you can basically stop units from running away. That's pretty cool. So we've basically got our Steel Helms. So these are our battle line unit. They've got a 4-up save. They move 5, bravery 5, which is pretty bad, and a wounds characteristics of 1. So they've got 2 attacks each. They hit on 4s and they wound on 4s and 1 damage. You can have a champion, which gives you +1 attack. You've got a standard bearer, which adds 1 to the bravery, so you're going to be bravery 6. And you can have a battle priest. The one model in the unit is a battle priest. Ooh, in a priest, does that give you the totem? Keyword. Consecrated the land. At the end of your movement phase, if this unit includes a battle priest and is contesting an objective you control that is not contested by an enemy models, you can say that you can consecrate the land. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 3+, the objective is consecrated by you to considered to be by you consecrated. Friendly Cities of Sigmar units have a ward save of 6+ while they are uncontested. They are contesting a consecrated objective. If your opponent gains control of a consecrated objective, it is no longer consecrated. Okay, so if they take it off you, you lose it, and you'll have to redo it. Okay, so you can get a 6-up ward save, which is kind of nice. So you can hold the line. So each time this unit receives an all-out attack command or or all-out defense command, you can pick one other friendly unit within 12 inches of this ability that is wholly within 12 inches of this unit and has not received any command points this phase. That unit receives the same command as... Oh, so double all-out defense is really, really nice to get 2 units on 3+. Pretty solid. They're pretty good. I quite like them. We'll see what the Fusiliers are like, because these are battle line. So the Free Guild Cavaliers, which can be battle line if you make the Free Guild Marshal a general. So they've got a 3-up save, solid. They move 10, 2 wounds each, bravery 7. They can have a champion, which gives you an Arc Knight, and he's armed with an Arc Knight blade instead of a Cavalier weapon. You have a standard bearer, which adds 1 to the bravery, which makes him bravery 8. They have devastating charge. So if this unit made a charge move in the same turn, add 1 to the damage characteristics of the Cavalier weapons, and improve the Ren characteristic of the Cavalier weapons by 1. Wow, so Ren 2, damage 2 on the charge, with 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. Then add on the fact that you can get reroll charges, +3 to your charge, and potentially fighting before somebody else if you're working in conjunction with the Mounted Marshal. That's pretty good. The Arc Knight Blade for the champion is 4 attacks, 3s, -2, 2 damage. That's really nice. And then the horses, 4s and 4s, 2 attacks. So yeah, I like them. I'm thinking a cavalry army. A cavalry army for this is looking definitely nice. At least, how much are the Cavalier models? That's the biggie. So they're not battle line. So you got steel helms of battle line. Cavalry units are 180 points for 5, and they are battle line if you have a free guild as a general. So 180 points. So your free guild Fusiliers, and these are 150 points for 10. For each free guild steel helms unit included in an army, one free guild Fusiliers unit can be included in an army as a battle line unit. So basically a bit like Wardens and Sentinels, and that goes into the Battalion that we had before, where you can have the units either one or the other. So you can pretty much build your army around these and one of one and have them both as battle line, and then have it as a 1-drop. So that's pretty cool. Or have 2 and maybe a couple of foot heroes, and then have essentially a couple of 1-drops. So they've got a 4-up save, they move 5, they've got 1 wound each, bravery 5. That's to be expected. They've got a champion, so one model in this unit is a champion, and it adds 2 to the attack characteristics of this model's Fusilier cannon. Alternatively, that model can be armed with a brace of pistols, and instead of a fusible cannon. So you can have a brace of pistols if you really wanted to. Cool. It can get a standard bearer, which adds 1 to the bravery to make it bravery 6. The Black Powder Squire isn't a model for the purpose. It is a marker for the resupply run ability. So we're going to have something pretty cool. So basically, you can get he's armed with a cannon. So it's got a 24. A Fusilier cannon has got basically fortified position or mobile. So let's see how this works. Each time a model makes a shot with a Fusilier cannon, if this unit is in a fortified position, use the fortified position. Otherwise, use the mobile. So if you've not, which you can use an order to get them to do this, so to be able to move and still perform a fortified position. So at the start of the battle round, this unit is in a fortified position. In addition, at the end of the movement phase, if this unit both remain stationary and was not set up in that phase, it can establish a fortified position. Once this unit is in a fortified position, it remains so until it moves or is removed from the battlefield. While this unit is in a fortified position, you can ignore the negative modifiers to save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons that target it. So you ignore any minuses to your saves while in a fortified position, but the move orders that you can give with a 3-inch move forward on the heroes allows you to move and position a fortified position rather than staying stationary. So that's kind of handy if you're going to go down the route of having a lot of these. So each time a model shoots, you use one or the other. So if you're going to be mobile, you've got 12-inch range with 1 attack, hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, -1 Ren 1 damage. And if you are fortify, you're 24 inches and you get 2 attacks. So the resupply run is once per battle at the start of your shooting phase. In the 3rd or subsequent battle rounds, you can say that this unit will resupply by its Black Powder Squire. If you do so, you can re-roll hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by this unit until the end of the phase. So from turn 3 onwards, you can resupply and then get hit rolls for that turn. Cool. So here's the Ogre. Has a 3-up save, moves 5, has 8 wounds, and has a bravery 7. It has a long, so is armed with a long fusel. The unit's Ogre is armed with a Warhawk mace. It's got crack shot ability, range finder, and fortified position. So the long fusel is a 24-inch range, 3 shots, 3s followed by 3s, -1 and D3 damage. And in melee, the ogre has 3 attacks. It hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -2 rend, and D3 damage. So crack shot, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with this unit's long fusel is 6, you can say that this unit has attempted to a crack shot. If you do so, the attack sequence ends. After all of this unit's attacks have been resolved, you can roll a dice for each crack shot that it attempted. For each roll that is at least double the target unit's wounds characteristic, pick one model from that unit to be slain. Wow! Okay, so you can single out those banners and get rid of them that are going to hopefully lead you to getting your grand strategy, or kill unit champions to stop them from being able to receive and give orders. That is really solid. Cool. So, and that's on a roll of a 6. You can attempt to do that. And in most cases, most models have got what, 1 or 2 models, but 1 or 2 wounds. Obviously, Blightkin have got 4 or 5, so it's not going to work on them unless you roll 6s. So, but in most cases, you're going to be rolling 2+. So at the start of your shooting phase, you can pick one friendly castellate unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit and roll a dice. Until the end of the phase, the range characteristic of that unit's missile weapons is increased by a number of inches equal to the roll. The same unit cannot be affected by this ability more than once in the same phase. So, friendly castellate unit. Oh, so this guy can affect your shooting units. These guys, your Fusiliers. So at the start of your shooting phase, you can pick one within 12 inches, and until the end of the phase, the range characteristic of that missile is increased by the number of inches equal to the roll. And roll the dice. Cool. So potentially 1 to 6 inches increase the range of. It's not bad. Fortified position at the start of the battle. If this unit is in a fortified position, this unit is in a fortified position. In addition, at the end of your movement phase, if this unit remained both stationary and was not set up in this phase, it can establish fortified position. Once this unit is in a fortified position, it remains so until it moves or is removed from the battlefield. While this unit is in a fortified position, you ignore negative modifiers to save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons against it. So just same as the other guys, you get a shield wall. That's pretty good. That's pretty good so far. Okay, so the big cannon, the Ironweld Great Cannon. You can have one of these in that battalion. It has a save of 4 and it moves 3 inches. Amazing. And it has a wound characteristics of 8 and a bravery of 5. So the Ironweld Great Cannon is armed with a Great Cannon. It has got a crew that has tools and side sticks. It's cool. So you don't really want this to fight because it hits on 4s and wounds on 5s and does 1 damage, and it has 2 attacks. If this thing is fighting, then you know you've messed up. So you basically, this is your gun. So each time the model with a Great Cannon, you choose either the Cannonball Armored Piercing Shell or the Grape Shot Missile characteristic for that shot. The Cannonball Armor Piercing can only be chosen while this unit is in a fortified position. And again, the fortified position is exactly the same rule as the other 2 units. So you can start the battle. This unit is in a fortified position. In addition, at the end of your movement phase, if this unit both remained stationary and was not set up in that phase, it can establish a fortified position. And once the fortified position, it has to remain stationary, and basically it loses it if it comes off the table or it moves. So you're going to start in a fortified position by setting up. So you're going to have a 24-inch range. So the cannon is 2 shots. It hits on 4s, wounds on 2s, and it has -2 rend, and it does D3 plus 2 damage. That's not bad. But if you use the armor piercing shell, it has 24-inch range, 2 shots, hits on 4s, wounds on 2s, -4 rend for D6 damage. Now, you want to use the Grape Shot if you're not if you've been moving. It can only move 3 inches, and that's basically 5 shots, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. So, yeah, that's pretty good. You can increase that. You can increase the range of that. So, and I believe that has a Cavalier, the Castellite range. It does. So your guy here can increase the range of that. Within 12, if it's within 12 of it, it can increase the range of the characteristic of the missile weapon by however many inches you roll on that dice. So you can increase that 24 inches to potential 30 inches. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. So another new unit, the Wild Corpse Hunters. They've got a save of 5. They move 5. They've got 1 wound and they've got a bravery 5. So each model in a Wild Hunters Corps is armed with a hunting crossbow and a hunting weapons. So the Wild Hunters Warden is 1 in every 11 models in this unit must be a Wild Hunters Corps. I'm pretty sure that this is the Warcry warband. So pretty much, let's have a little look. There's sometimes can be quite good. And then 4 in every 11 models can be the Hounds. So, and they've got the Furious Bites. So the Arbaster is 1 in every 11 models, and that is armed with a hunting Arabaster instead of a hunting crossbow. So the experts tracking. So after deployment, but before the first battle round, this unit can make a normal move. So it's kind of got a scout move, cannot run, and they move 5 inches. So they've got a 5-inch scout move. They're hidden and dangerous. So this unit is not visible to enemy units while it is in cover or while it is more than 12 inches away from them. In addition, improve the rend characteristics of this unit's missile weapons by 1 while it is in cover. So you put them on a terrain piece, they're in cover, you get +1 rend. That's really cool. So the Warden is armed with 1 in 11 must be a Wildcats Warden. This model is armed with Ferocious Bites in addition to the other weapons. The Wildcats Warden can issue commands. He's armed with a hunting crossbow and a hunting weapon. So he's got a hunting crossbow. So it's 18 inches, 2 attacks, plus 4 to hit, 4 to wound, -1 rend, 1 damage. So the Arbaster has got a slightly better crossbow, and it has 2 attacks. It hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, -2 rend, D3 damage. Bear in mind you can increase the rend of these by 1 if they're in cover, so it can be rend 2 or rend 3. They've got hunting weapons, so that's 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, 1 damage. And the dogs have got 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, and 1 damage. Yeah, so not bad. We've got Haskell Hexbane, which is an Inquisitor, I believe. It's like a Witch Hunter. He's a really cool model. Grim Resolve, he's a 5-up ward save. After the deployment before the start of the first battle round, pick 1 enemy hero and monster on the battlefield to be targeted with the Witch Hunt. If there are any enemy wizard heroes on the battlefield, one of those must be picked to be the target of the Witch Hunt. Add 1 to the damage inflicted by attacks from that unit. And then it's got Flame Stakes. At the end of the combat phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 1 inch of this unit roll. And add 1 to the rule rolls for the Death, Demon, and Wizard keywords. On the 3+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Pretty cool. Pretty sure he's like another sort of Warcry warband. And it comes with these guys, the Hunters. Yeah, they're pretty decent. And I'm pretty sure that Glalin Vendest and the other one is also like sort of separately little models. So we're going into the dwarf stuff. We're just going to skip over because I can do a separate video on the dwarf and the elf stuff if you want me to, because there's a lot of that. I'm just going to see if there's any other new Sigmar units. It seems to be all the elves, the war hydras, cold ones. What are the cold ones like? Darkspawn Knights, 3-up save, 10-inch move. Lances, 2s, 3s, 4s. Yeah, the human cavalry are definitely better. Black Fleet. So that's it. That is all. And there's the points if anyone wants to have a quick look at the points. So there's all the points. The steel helms are 100 points for 10. The Free Guild is 90 points. The Marshal's 120. The Ogre is 150. The Matriarch on the Great Wheel is 150 points. She's 340. Cavalry is... The command group is 170 in a single. Free Guild Fusiliers 150. The Cavaliers 180 and can be taken as battle line. And that's everything else. So yeah. So that's the video, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. That's everything out. Really can't wait to get my hands on these. There's going to be quite a lot of Cities of Sigmar content coming with painting and everything else. So yeah, and I'll probably look into the lore as well and have a little once I've had a good read of it. But yeah, it looks like a very interesting army. Some really cool mechanics. Really like the orders. I'm really loving some of the units, and the new models are amazing. So if you enjoy the content that you watch on the channel, please subscribe. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers. It is unbelievable. And like the video, and let me know in the comments if you are also looking forward to Cities of Sigmar. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.